What's happening, guys, and welcome back to our channel. At the peak of her career, Demi Moore was the highest paid actress in Hollywood. Moore, however, was forced to address her troubled past as soon as she got off the red carpet. But what occurred to Moore that drastically transformed her life? Let's find out how one tragic night broke Demi Moore forever. Number 5. No one knew what was behind those eyes. Demi Moore had the world at her feet during the height of her fame. All eyes were on her as she walked down the red carpet with her black hair floating behind her. No one knew, however, that behind those eyes was a lady who had witnessed more sorrow and pain than anyone could have imagined. Demi's mother regarded her as nothing more than a commodity to be sold, and their connection would plague her for the rest of her life. Is it conceivable that the actress's strained connection with her mother contributed to her estrangement from her daughters? Why has Demi had such a hard time loving and trusting men her life? Number 4. Demi's pub night went bad in a way she'll never forget. Demi's connection with her mother was tumultuous at best. Virginia King, Demi's mother, was an alcoholic who would frequently bring little Demi to bars to attract the attention of other men. Demi was just in her early teens at the time and had no idea what was going on. Moore adored her mother and thought she was parenting her daughter to the best of her ability. Unfortunately, one night at a pub turned sour in a way Demi would never forget. Moore said that when she returned home that night, she discovered an older guy whom she and her mother both knew inside their apartment. I think in my deep heart, no. I don't think it was a straightforward transaction, but she still did give him the address and put me in harm's way. Virginia's alcoholism was accompanied by episodes of deep despair that were overwhelming. Demi and her stepfather were always on high alert since Virginia threatened to kill herself on several occasions. Demi was just 12 years old at the time of the first attempt, and she had the unfathomable responsibility of keeping a close eye on her mother. The next thing I remember is using my fingers, the small fingers of a child, to dig the pills my mother had tried to swallow out of her mouth while my father held it open and told me what to do. Something very deep inside me shifted then, and it never shifted back. My childhood was over. The fact that this was not Virginia's first attempt at suicide just adds to the tragedy. No one could have understood how it felt for Demi to be in that situation with her mother, and it was a memory she would never forget. Number 3. Wedding day trouble with Freddie Moore. Perhaps Demi's troubled romantic life stemmed from all the trauma she was never able to completely absorb. Right before Demi went down the aisle, her first marriage to Freddie Moore began with dishonesty. Apart from the fact that Freddie was already married when he met the then 16-year-old Demi, nothing stopped them from falling in love. That, however, isn't the type of dishonesty we're talking about. Demi also wasn't completely blameless in this regard. She claimed that she had skipped her bachelorette party to meet up with a man she met on the set of a movie. Actor Paul Carafotes acknowledged to the public that he was the mystery guy, even though she never revealed who he was. Demi and Freddie had barely been married for 5 years when they divorced in 1985. The actress's heart was captured by none other than Bruce Willis just 2 years later. Willis and Moore married in Las Vegas in 1987, just after a few months of dating, according to sources. Demi admitted initially that she wasn't sure if he wanted to be married. The actor was said to be jealous of her acting profession at the outset of their relationship. Demi was becoming quite well known in Hollywood, and Bruce may not have known how to deal with his wife's adoration. He didn't like Demi having to spend so much time away from his 3 children, according to his source. Soon, accusations of inappropriate actions and dishonesty began to circulate, and Bruce just added gasoline to the fire. It should come as no surprise that the pair broke up 2 years later. They got divorced and decided to co-parent Rumour, Scout, and Tallulah Bell Willis, their 3 daughters. The actress was in a state of distress when she stopped communicating with her ex-husband, and her 3 children stopped speaking to her, asking her to get assistance. Number 2. Her addiction with Ashton ruined anything she had left. Demi, like her mother, has struggled with unhealthy practices all her life. Rather than finding a suitable habit to replace her practices, she became addicted to her third husband, Ashton Kutcher. The pair had a 16-year age difference, and Demi stated that it was his youth that first drew her in. Demi believed that if she dated a younger man, she would be able to relive her 20s via him. She, on the other hand, immediately got fixated on him and turned her back on everyone else in her life. Her addiction to Ashton ruined what little she had left of her connection with her daughters. The addiction and the codependency, like my addiction to Ashton, that was probably almost more devastating because it took me seriously away emotionally, she admitted it. Many factors contributed to the demise of Demi's marriage to Ashton. From dishonesty accusations to the actress's relapse, the pair faced all difficulties. But there was one final straw, and that was Demi's terrible miscarriage 6 months into her pregnancy. Demi was heartbroken by the loss of her unborn child, and she confessed that she didn't think Ashton understood her anguish. Regardless of how much Kutcher attempted to connect with her at the time, she felt that he was too young to comprehend her pain. First of all, he hadn't carried this baby, and second, he was in his 20s at the time. He wasn't remotely late to the game of fatherhood. His possibilities were not running out, she admitted. Following the miscarriage, the couple attempted to have a second child naturally, but their efforts were unsuccessful. They then tried artificial methods, but they were unsuccessful at that as well. Moore then decided to look at egg donation possibilities. Kutcher backed out at the last minute after the duo discovered a match. "I don't think I can do this, and I don't know if this is working," she said, adding that Kutcher only gave her the go light because he didn't think she'd do it. Demi was devastated, wanting nothing more to have a child with a guy she adored, but it appeared they no longer shared that desire. Demi had an even more tough task ahead of her after the couple split in 2011 and divorced 2 years later. She focused all of her energy on healing the damaged relationship with her 3 daughters now that she had no other guy in her life. Number 1. Rehabilitation. Demi Moore's relationship with Ashton Kutcher, as well as all the poisonous events that transpired during that time, left her daughters with what appeared to be an insurmountable rift. Scout and Tallulah had gone 3 years without speaking to their mother. Rumour and her younger sister described how their connection with their mother began to deteriorate. Moore relapsed when Tallulah was 9 years old after lying about her recovery for years. Rumour and Scout eventually moved away, leaving their younger sister to deal with their mother's illness alone. Tallulah said it only happened through a metamorphosis of inward self-reflection and a malleability to forgive in a 2020 Mother's Day Instagram post. Tallulah said in a 2020 Mother's Day Instagram post that the 4 ladies were able to reconcile only through a metamorphosis of inward self-reflection and a malleability to forgive. She's worked hard since then to break past the ceiling of her rock bottom. Moore went to rehab for trauma, codependency, and substance misuse, as well as for her health problems and to restore her relationships with her daughters. Demi's career appears to be on the mend, and she's lined up some acting roles for her admirers as well. We just hope that after everything she's been through, she can finally find the happiness she deserves. Do let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments down below, and I'll be catching you guys later in another video. Bye now!